Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CCC. We have a very, very important event to be happening here. So first, I would like to introduce our MC for the event, the Honorable Mr. Ko.
你好. And so we've got a very special guest here, the Honorable Minister Sandra Patello, who's the Minister of Economic Development and Trade for the province of Ontario. And you know, she's used to the very warm, hot weather in Windsor. So she's complaining about the weather here, but I told her the sun is shining here in Toronto. So welcome, Minister Patello. And also, Hugh Zheng, thank you, and I want to thank the Chinese Cultural Center for hosting this event. And again, I think I'm here every second day, and I just find it a very, very special place. And so it's good to be back again. As you know, Ms. Patello, one of the things we're doing here, we have a scholarship going on here to honor the great Chinese navigator, Sheng He. And so in the near future, there's going to be programs with young people talking about this incredible ambassador of peace that the Chinese Cultural Center is going to partner with us in the future. And also, I want to say special thanks to everybody who's here this morning, because this is a continuum of a very, very important series of initiatives. And I want to thank especially Bonnie Yang, who's here from the president. She's the president of the Beijing Association of Canada. Bonnie. See, with Bonnie, this is a little bit of serendipity, because on Canada Day, we had a very special presentation for Canada Day with the Chinese community down at Dundas Square. And remember, that day she had these red T-shirts that said Beijing Association. And I said to her, I want one of those T-shirts. And I have that T-shirt. So see, that was a bit of a serendipity connection between today and that Canada Day, Bonnie. Also, Sean He is here, the president of the Chinese Business Chamber of Canada. Sean. And as you know, Sean and his members, I was at their annual gala, Minister, and where we recognized some outstanding Canadians of Chinese origin. We had the president of McDonald Real Estate from British Columbia there, an amazing lady who's established one of the largest real estate companies in British Columbia. We recognized so many incredible business people here in Ontario and Canada. The president of Markham Mazda was recognized. There was the founder of a food importing business. There were so many exceptional business people that have come from China. They're doing business here in Ontario and throughout Canada. And Sean's organization is an extremely proactive, positive organization that's continually building business connections between Ontario, Canada, and China on an ongoing basis. And that's why Sean is really an example of what we can do, the potential. And again, today I'm here, especially as Minister of Immigration and Citizenship for Ontario, because like we know for certain, we have what I call the Ontario advantage that very few places in the world have. We have people here from all over the world that can do business and network with any part of the world. And they know the language, they have family, they have friends, they have ongoing trade networks taking place like Sean. This is an incredible advantage that we have. And so today's announcement is part of Ontario taking full benefit of that advantage for the good of Ontario business, for the good of the population of Ontario, and for the good of building a strong partnership between China and Ontario. And as you know, this announcement today is part of an ongoing, very strong, aggressive, proactive approach we've had. You know, the Premier was there with a major delegation. We had Minister Sabera has been in China. Minister Bradley has been in China to encourage tourism. I have been there to encourage closer ties between China. We have the Jiangsu, Ontario partnership developed, marking the 20th anniversary with a business council. We've established a business council relationship with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and Hong Kong Trade Office. We have the Trade Office for the Ontario government in Shanghai. So Ontario is very straightforward. We keep on building this partnership between China, Ontario, and again, the building is being able to be done because of our people, because they have the economic, social, cultural intelligence to build an amazing partnership for years to come. And before I introduce the ministers, I tell people we cannot afford to be sitting back when our second largest trading partner is China. We're up to over $16 billion in trade with China. There's been an increase of 140% in trade and economic activity between Ontario and China in the last 5 years. 140% increase. So today is another major step in building even greater future business exchanges, cultural exchanges, education exchanges. So it's part of the aggressive building a partnership that the McGuinty government has with China and its great people and with our great people here. So it is my honor to introduce the very, very dynamic Minister of Economic Development and Trade for the province of Ontario. Let's give a warm Southern Ontario welcome.
Thanks so much, Minister Cole. It's always great to be with you at a function. He always warms up the room anyway, no matter what the temperature is out there. And thanks so much to our hosts today. We're very pleased to be here at the Chinese Cultural Center. It's a wonderful facility, and I think it speaks of a great tribute to the Chinese community all over Canada, not just here in Toronto. I may come from Windsor, but I like to say that our entire population has benefited greatly from this tremendous immigration from China. Even in my hometown, we were talking earlier about some of the settlers that were here in the late 1800s, so it's been going on for generations. Anyway, today the McGuinty government is proud to announce that we are raising the province's profile in the global marketplace by pledging to open 3 new international marketing centers in Beijing, in Paris, and Mexico City in 2007. These new offices bring Ontario's total to 10, adding to the 7 offices that we currently have in Tokyo, London, Los Angeles, New Delhi, Shanghai, Munich, and New York. All Ontario International Marketing Centres are co-located in existing Canadian foreign missions such as embassies, high commissions, or consulates. Each Ontario International Marketing Centre is staffed by 1 Ontario public servant, known as we call the Ontario Senior Economic Officer, and by 1 locally hired commercial officer. And we're very pleased that this past week we were able to sign our memorandum of understanding with the federal government for these 3 additional offices. And of course, we're very pleased to be here today to highlight the Beijing office. We've already begun a public recruitment process to identify those individuals who will become Ontario's representatives or senior economic officers in each of these key markets. The Canadian Embassy in Beijing is currently undergoing extensive renovations that will make room for Ontario to open its first office in that city. We're looking forward to the completion of that construction project so that we can open our office as soon as possible. Ontario's International Marketing Centre represents Ontario's broader economic interest to key audiences to Ontario's key markets. Their many specific functions include working to attract foreign direct investment to Ontario, much of which, as we know, is happening today, identifying export opportunities for Ontario goods and services. And the more we visit and the more our companies participate, the more opportunities we know that there are. And we're there to support the expansion of Ontario companies when they come to China. Solidifying government-to-government relationships in order to expand business opportunities for Ontario's firms and institutions. Developing strong relationships on behalf of Ontario with key media outlets and opinion makers so they get to know the story of Ontario. providing logistical and tactical support for official visits and delegations from Ontario, and gathering, analyzing, and disseminating timely and strategic commercial intelligence on the markets in which they're located. So for us, we know we'll have people on the ground to give us and our Ontario companies information to make those sometimes quick business decisions. We're very proud of our friendship with China. I feel that the creation of an additional international marketing center based in China to join the efforts of the office in Shanghai won't only strengthen our friendship, but it'll lead to stronger partnership and increased trade between our two jurisdictions. In late 2005, as Minister Cole mentioned, Premier McGuinty led a 12-day, very successful delegation to China. It included more than 125 people, approximately 100 different organizations. That was an exciting trip, and it really did show us and our leaders just how much potential there is in China. The Beijing International Marketing Center will help us strengthen those trade horizons, providing Ontario firms a solid two-way trading relationship, good on-the-ground information. In China, Premier McGuinty and the governor of Jiangsu province signed a memorandum of understanding that gives us a greater platform for economic cooperation. And many of you probably remember the trip this past October. At the center of the MOU was the creation of an Ontario Jiangsu Business Council. We officially established the council last October when the vice governor from Jiangsu toured Ontario and in fact brought companies with them to tour some of our plants here in Ontario. And that was to tap into the expertise of our auto industry. The co-location has many advantages. We're going to streamline administrative and program efficiency so we can be certain that we're spending our dollars wisely. By expanding Ontario's presence around the world, though, I think we all get it. We're taking a decisive step to make sure foreign direct investment is increased in Ontario, and new strategic markets are being created for our Ontario businesses. We're acting on a key priority of the Premier's. We are taking Ontario to the world. So we're very, very pleased to be here today, especially to highlight the Beijing office, but to talk about these 3 new offices that brings Ontario's total to 10. Congratulations to Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Botello, for that very, very positive news. I now have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Positive, I call him. One of the most successful business persons that I've run across. He's a great speaker. His wife is a great dentist. She's also a very great, it's a wonderful family. But I'm here to ask Sean He to come up as the president of the Chinese Business Chamber of Canada. Sean He. Sean?
Good morning, everyone. As a result of this opening of office in Beijing, I believe that many Ontarians will learn to speak Ni Hao. On behalf of the CBCC, I want to thank and congratulate the government of Ontario for the decision to open a trade office in Beijing, China. This is indeed good news and good for Ontario, good for China, and good for our CBCC members. As we know, many of our members are involved in Canada and China trade. We like the government to take a more proactive approach towards promoting trade between the two countries. And this is a good concrete step to help the private sector and the business community to export to China, to the China market. It shows the determination and political will and courage of this government to help the export community. As a business organization of the business community, we welcome that, we applaud that, and we believe that Ontario has a lot to offer to the China market. That's why we are going to hold a trade show called Ontario Exports to China Show in partnership with various ministries of Ontario in order to help our members and others in the community to identify business opportunities and trade opportunities to export to China. So once again, we applaud, we welcome the opening of the Beijing office, Ontario Trade Office in Beijing, officially that name, and we are looking forward to working closely with the office. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, 谢谢 Sean. And as I told Sean, when I go to the ESL schools, like I did last week, I said it's maybe important to learn 3 languages now in Ontario. And not Italian, Sam, that's good. English, French, and Mandarin. Really, those are the languages of the future. And that's because the opportunities are unlimited. It is now my pleasure to introduce Bonnie Yang, who's the president of the Beijing Association of Canada, to offer a few remarks. Bonnie?
大家好. On behalf of Beijing Association, to say a few words. I think that's very important, good news for us. It's Beijing and Ontario, also the center of the culture and the trade and the economic. So it's that event. I think for us is we have the home in Beijing. Beijing's home. So it's so it's right now. 我有一个 very important 的礼物送给 Ontario. Could you help me?
We're going to wait. You come back in a minute.
Okay.
She's so excited. Okay, Bonnie, we'll just have a seat, then I'll get you back up. I mean, Bonnie's so excited, you know, because, again, it's just so dramatic. I mean, as you know, the Beijing and its government is a government by itself, like Shanghai. It already has a population of about 18 million. You know, and then on top of that, with the Beijing being the capital, Ontario is open to another 1.2 billion people. So, I mean, Beijing alone would be a great opportunity for trade. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Hugh Zhang for short comments, Vice President of the Chinese Cultural Center. Hugh Zhang.
Thank you, Mr. Ko. Everybody knows Mr. Ko is a great friend of our community. He's also a great supporter of the Cultural Center. I think this is the first time in this room we have a press conference with 2 ministers. One is big enough for us that make us very happy. You know, 2 is some kind of record. So thank you both for able to using our facility to do a very meaningful event. There's no doubt in our mind that the extra office in Beijing will increase a lot of trade, a lot of easiness for both sides to do the trade activities. Now, as we know, cultural or any other matter without economic backing, you just said cannot accomplish anything. The old Chinese saying, you can't do anything without money. So we have the cultural center, the main purpose of our existence here is to promote culture. But in order to do that, we got to have the backing of an economy, trade, and other things. So hopefully this new move by the Ontario government would increase a lot of trade between these 2 countries, that we will benefit from it for sure. I know a lot of people make money on trade, and then they're using their money to support us. Without money, we can't survive. Like our second phase, we just completed. I wish you have time to walk over. They have a look at our new facility with a big multi-purpose hall and the theater is very, very beautiful. We spent more than $15 million, and we still have a $3 million in debt. So we need to do more trade, make the people make more money and give us more donation. Thank you.
And again, as Hughes knows, the Cultural Center is really state-of-the-art, and Ontario's been very grateful to be a partner in building this center, so we continue to be very important partners. Because culture can never stand by itself. As Hughes says, we also need money for culture too. Anyways, if you, just before we do the official photo, are there any questions? And if you have any technical questions about the details, we have staff here too. Are there any questions before we do the unveiling? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Joseph from TorontoTv. This question is for Minister Pudapal. Okay. Why pick Beijing as the second Ontario International Marketing Center, not the southern part city like Guangzhou or Hong Kong? Is this because based on the diplomatic reasons rather than economic reasons?
No, all of the decisions are based on economic reasons and business opportunities for Ontario businesses. And because we have many state-owned companies, the head is in Beijing. So we need to be there because it's our best access point. So when we have staff that's actually able to have a continuity of relationship with the local authority, local media, local opinion makers, but in particular government officials. As we know in many countries around the world, those state-owned companies provide lots of opportunities for us, and it really is about building those relationships. So Beijing really was key. If we look at our strengths and what we want to be marketing and continuing to export, infrastructure issues, those types of companies that are really centered in the government make Beijing the key destination for us. Thank you. Yes, sir.
China is the second country next to the United States that have two locations of the marketing center. Does that mean that China's the importance of China, the marketing, in terms of marketing,
well, I think it really does speak for itself because we are looking around the world at where Ontario can make the best effort. So we're clearly picking Beijing because we see the opportunities there. So for us to open our second office, and as opposed to going to a country that we're not in at all, we're going to Beijing, it is because we recognize that this isn't an emerging economy. It is powerful, it is there, it is very present, and the opportunities are opportunities that are there today. So we want to take advantage of this. We note what is happening there, and we also note the Chinese are coming to Ontario like never before. Minister Cole referenced some of those statistics. So it really does speak to playing to your strengths. And what we believe is we have some tremendous strengths in our relationships with China, those that have been developed by our own premier, who led a delegation in 2005. The follow-up has been tremendous. From some of those agreements, we now have millions more dollars in terms of activity on the business side happening because of the delegation that was there. So we can see this constant need to have that furthering of the relationship because it really does mean good news for business, and those representing the business community here can see the clear benefit when you have a large immigrant population from China. We're taking advantage of that because it benefits all Ontarians, and we're going to tell that story to the rest of the general public of Ontario. This Chinese immigration has had untold benefits for Ontario, and it keeps getting stronger. We're in a position now to open a second office, and we've selected Beijing for all kinds of very good business reasons, and we're anticipating some tremendous success from this endeavor. Yes?
Hi, Minister. I have a question. Is there any estimated number that, like how much money or how much money benefit to the Ontarian since the Shanghai office established?
Well, yeah, we're now making a list of all of those benefits, and we don't have it in a dollar figure. We do have a whole number of agreements that were signed and things that have happened since. So once that agreement is signed would say one particular amount of money, it's grown since then. As well, and I think the evidence of the Vice Governor, we had an opportunity to sit down. Actually, both Mike and I sat and had a great dinner with the crew, but they came down here and spent days here in intricate, detailed meetings with our automotive sector, and that was the focus of that delegation that came. That kind of benefit is going to be very hard to put down in terms of an amount because it's know-how, it's technical expertise. It will be a long time, and you'll still continue to see benefits just from one visit. So I think in a dollar figure it's hard to say, but I can tell you that it would be in the hundreds of millions by this point, just in expertise and technical know-how that's gained from both sides. So there are some very, very exciting partnerships that are going on as a result. And I think it's something that the Chinese community has always known, the business representatives from the Chinese community has always known, and it's about time the Ontario government starts following suit.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, I had the pleasure of being in Shanghai. It's interesting enough that the Quebec government has offices everywhere, all over the world. They're right in Shanghai. And the number of Canadian architectural firms that are even in Shanghai are in the dozens. Multi-million-dollar projects being made by Toronto-based companies in Shanghai. In fact, we've got Zhen Song here, who is the Ontario Trade Director in Shanghai, who's here. He can give you more details. It's really incredible, the informal and formal business opportunities as a result of being there to give Ontario a presence in Shanghai alone. And in fact, in Beijing, we have a major Ontario Canadian company, Bombardier, building part of a people mover right in the middle of Beijing. And you know, Thomas can probably tell you this is unlimited because it's very clear. Ontario and the Canadian brand is very strong in China. We have to do more to make these linkages. They want to do business with us. They have a very, very strong appreciation of the ties we have.
I think we have one more question.
Yeah, can you name some of the examples of achievements Shanghai office did for the
What I will do is I'll get you a handout, and I'll see if I've got it with me, or I'll fax it in short order to you. And I'll give you a list, a sampling, for example, of some of those agreements that have come forward.
Okay, now we're going to do the unveiling here of our Peggy, you've been waiting for this? Bonnie's good. Is it okay? Minister.
You over there.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. Bonnie, if you turn around.
Okay, in that corner now. At the corner.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Part.
Michael, you got a phone? Yes, what do you think? Okay, come on.
Okay, ready? This way, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
We're gonna have it.
I got it.
I wonder, does the Beijing government have it?
你對於今次安省響北京設辦事處嘅睇法點樣？
就當然係相當之高興啦！你知啦，就安省咧已經喺呢幾年咧好努力啊，就知道中國嗰個經濟發展潛質好緊要。咁啊，省長啊，2005年啊去過中國訪問啊，咁其實好多廳長咧都去過中國嘅。咁啊，而家能夠卒之咧，再喺中國開多個辦事處咧，我覺得係對於貿易方面咧係應該有個好大嘅進展。
你對於譬如促進家中嘅關係或者商貿關係有冇好處啊？
當然係有啦，家中關係自從呢個聯邦保守黨上台咧就冷卻咗好多啦嚇。咁就其實安省咁樣做法咧，就係都可以俾翻一個訊息俾中國政府，其實咧就係冷卻啦係聯邦政府嘅啫，呢個安省咧仍然係好熱衷於呢個幫呢個中國呢個人口嘅來往啊、教育嘅來往啊、旅遊嘅來往啊，同埋貿易嘅來往咁樣呢個係安省咧不嬲冇變到呢樣嘢。